Hello, hello. Good morning. Hold on a second. I'm trying to do something here. All right. So as you're arriving, make sure you say hello and let me know that you're here because I am streaming in different places. And so if StreamYard does not have permission to see who you are, it will not let me know. And so I'm going to see if I can pull things up on my phone and maybe that will help. Let's just try it. So I hope you're having an amazing morning already. I don't know where you are in the world. That maybe, let's see here. I don't know if this is going to show me, but we will try. I'm game to try different things to see how we can simplify. And okay, hold on. I gotta take this out of my ear. Okay, hold on. I gotta hold on. Take this out of my ear. Where is the silence? The mute. Hold on. Hold on. Give me a second. Make sure you say hello when you get here. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, there it is. All right. Perfect. I was hearing me in several places. It's like, what? All right. So good morning, good morning, good morning, and I am so happy to be here. And it's funny. I had good morning, Lynn. It's funny. I had an idea of a book that I wanted to talk about today, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I know I have the book. So I'm going to save that for another day when I have, I guess, more time to look or maybe not look so hard because it's one of those things, you can be looking for something and it's right in front of you, but you can't find it because you're looking so hard, right? Um, and I don't know if you've ever had that happen to you. Have you? That because it happens to me quite often if I'm not actually relaxed in it. I don't know what it is, but I can be looking so hard and not find it, go away, come back, and I know nobody's been in the room, and there it is. So that book is probably on my bookshelves somewhere, and this morning I couldn't find it. So, like I said, I will be. Good morning, and I'm looking over here to see that is Danny Ray. Good morning, Danny Ray. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to go when I have a time later today, and I'm going to go on once again and try to share with everybody how to let StreamYard know who you are, so that it pops up and I can see it there. Because I might get a little wonky trying to look in these two different places for what's going on. I'll just share. Um, all right. So let's see. I got somebody leaving me a message over there, and I'll get back to that in a moment. So, like I said, today is a good day. Today is a very good day. And I think I've mentioned this before that, well, let me just share the journal prompt. Okay. So well, no, first it's the affirmation. All right. So here's the affirmation. And let me pop it up here so it shows. Let me paste this over here. I'm learning, I'm getting it all together. And so the thing that this affirmation brings up for me, I am the creator of my own happiness, is that, I've mentioned it before, but it's been a while, so you may not remember this or may not have heard this before, but I used to have a friend, and he was quite the Debbie Downer. When we would do things or go places, the only things he noticed was what was going wrong. If the food wasn't right, or if the line was too long, the lighting wasn't right, it was always something that was wrong. And he was just a very depressing person. And so I got where I wouldn't really hang out with him very much. But one day I had told him, I said, what is going on? Why is it that everything is so negative with you? And he said, well, I can't help it. He said, I'm just depressed. When you're depressed, you can't find happiness anywhere. And he said, it really irritates the hell out of me that you're happy all the time. I said, I'm not happy all the time. I said, but when I become unhappy, I try to focus on the things that make me happy so it doesn't drag me down into this rabbit hole. And he said, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And so he could not understand. Yes, yes. Uh, it is amazing how people can be that way. But I told him, I said, just choose to be happy. He said, I can't just choose to be happy. And, and when you talk to someone who is depressed, they can't in the moment choose to be happy. It's like there's layers, right? So one of the things I share a lot of times, and let me get my little card out here. This is the emotional scale. And so when someone is, let's see, where is depression on here? Disappointed, overwhelmed, blame, hatred, security, fear. Depression. Depression is all the way at the very, very bottom. And so I think when people are in a depressed state or whatever, because it has fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness, all in that same spot. So when someone is wanting to be happy, they think that they go straight from there to this exhilarating happiness. And that's too big a leap because this is number 22 is the depression. And then let's look for happy, 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 happy. Happiness is all the way up at 3. So that's a huge leap, right? So even if they were depressed and they started feeling unworthiness or insecurity, they've actually gone up a little bit on the scale, right? So then, so some people they are upset if they get to an anger stage, but an anger stage is actually a higher on the vibrational scale than the depression, because anger is at 17. So then they can get to disappointment, which is 12, right? And so the thing that's important for us to understand is wherever you are, that's where you are. And it's unrealistic for the person that's feeling that or for us to expect them to feel this level of happiness, right? And I can say when I was friends with this guy, I didn't really know about this scale and I didn't quite understand it in the beginning anyway. And so I think maybe looking back on it, maybe I could have helped him. But, some people, they are miserable and they just are comfortable in that misery and they're not going to do any damn thing to change it or not for long, right? I talked a little bit about that yesterday on the live that we sometimes say we want to make a change, but as we're changing, our subconscious mind starts saying, whoa, wait a minute, that doesn't feel comfortable. I'm not familiar with that, and it will pull you back to where you were. And so it's like this push pull thing that happens in your life. And so you really have to look at your life and choose which way do you want to go? Do you want to be going up the scale and getting to the happiness, to the freedom, the passion? Is that what you want? If it is, then you can do the different things to help you get there. And you start with recognizing that you are the creator. Because if you're depressed and or let's say you're a person that deals a lot with anger, there's something going on that keeps you in that state. And so it's your privilege to figure out and get help if you need to figure out how you can actually go up the scale and become this happy person that you want to be, right? And one of the things is to change your environment. the people that you hang around. If you're in a crowd of people that everybody is friggin' depressed and find everything that's wrong with everything, there's a reason that you gravitated together. And maybe it's time to break out a little bit. It doesn't mean you can't ever see them again. It's branch out and move away just a little bit. And it's like I once told my son, he used to always, when he was having all these issues, he would say, "Well, I'm going to move to so and so, and then it'll all be better." And I'd say, you take yourself everywhere you go. The problem is not where you're at, the problem is who you are and what you're doing. So change that, and the rest of it will begin to change. Well, that was great advice, right? Did he do that? No, no. And so he still battles with the same stuff. And so I had to finally give myself the grace to realize that he's making those choices. I cannot change those choices for him. And the same with our friends. But that's also, we have a choice and we can choose to adopt and know that we are the creator of our own happiness and figure out how we want to do that. And so we begin to ask ourselves much more powerful questions with what's going on. A lot of times we fall into the why. Why does this always happen to me? Why is it that this happens? And why does this person say this? And why is it that everybody that becomes my friend treats me this way? Why is it everybody I date begins to treat me this way? There's a reason. And it's like, especially if there's a pattern that's showing up in your life, it's time to evaluate. It's not your external circumstances that are creating this pattern. It's your circumstances, who you are, what your subconscious mind believes, right? So, excuse me, let me take a sip of my cup of joe, right? My coffee. So the thing is that we need is not the right way. If you're wanting to make changes in your life, you have to change something. Remember the little thing, the definition for insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. So if this has been a pattern in your life for a while, it may be time to get in a different crowd, to ask for help, to make a new friend that they're a little bit different. And it's because what is it, the saying, friends of a feather flock together. So the people who are vibrating and emanating that same angst that you feel are going to gravitate to you, and you're going to gravitate to them because you have a common theme in your relationship. And so, like you said, that you have a friend and you've started to outgrow them, it's because you're stepping outside of that space where you had a common ground, right? And so, as you become happier, the people that are more depressed or, unhappy, because it may not be actually clinical depression, it can just be a really strong, I'm not happy and I don't want to be happy and I don't want you to be happy kind of thing. So it's not always just depressed. It's kind of a feeling of depression, but not actual depression. So I can't speak on people that are clinically depressed, but to me, coming from where I'm at, it feels like if you can make some changes, even if they're little, those changes help you to break the ice, so to speak, of getting out of this pond. Because when you're in that space, because I've been there before, not clinically depressed, at least that I know of, but I've been in depressed states where it was like, oh my God, what in the world? Why am I even here? Kind of thing, And and so you can make one change and it just kind of breaks it open, because when you're in that state, you almost feel like you're stuck in a block of ice and you can't move, you can't change, or you're stuck in quicksand. It's like, and it's pulling you down. And I'm throwing you a branch latch onto to pull you out of the quicksand, or I'm sending a magnifier of light onto that block of ice that you're stuck in so that you can kind of melt it away. And instead of chiseling it away and possibly injuring your legs, your feet, or whatever, we're melting it off. So it's a smoother and a little bit slower process, but it can be more comfortable. Even though you're going outside of your comfort zone, it's not as jarring as like immediately. And like I said, if you're looking at the emotional scale, it would be, you might could get to a place where you can just pop yourself up way up the scale, but will you last? Will you stay there? And it's just like diets, right? You go on a strict diet, you can lose weight, there's no way you can't lose weight if you restrict yourself enough, right? However, that's not sustainable for life. So once you get to the I lost the weight place, then you're going to revert back to the old behaviors, maybe not immediately, but it's a gradual, slippery slope. And then you start putting the weight back on. Speaking from experience here, I'm telling you. And so the same comes with happiness. You can get into that happy state, but if you let all these things around you, you know, get attached to you, it'll bring you back down. So it's a daily practice to realize that you're the creator of your own happiness. You get to choose what you focus on. And, like earlier this week, there was some things that it was like it just kind of derailed me a little bit, right? And I won't go into it, but the thing that was interesting was it was like, oh, I could just feel this angst in me, right? And so I was thinking, this doesn't feel good. I do not like the way this feels. This is uncomfortable. How can I get into a better place? And so that's what I'm saying when I say we ask ourselves better questions instead of why did this happen to me? It was like, how can I get to a better place? How can I get to a better feel? And then that was like, just by asking that question, my subconscious mind starts telling me, well, you could go for a walk, you could maybe read a good book, call a friend. And it's like suddenly there were these ideas that were popping in my head. Now, if I had asked myself, oh my gosh, why does this happen? Why did this happen to me? It would start evaluating, well, I don't know, why did it happen? Because this and this and this. And so it would have just solidified all of that angst and made it worse. And so I just want you to look at that. That's how we do life. If we want it to be a better experience, we ask better questions. We know that we are in control. And when we are in control of it instead of everything else, now that can sometimes feel uncomfortable because we think, well, I wouldn't have chose to be where I am right now. However, if you think about it, if somebody else is in control of that, you might stay there forever, right? But if you're in control of it, you can do things to change it. And that's why it's such a more powerful place to be, to realize that you are the creator of your happiness or your misery. And you get to choose, do you want to stay in the misery or get into the happiness and begin to make that happen, right? Changing little things change a lot. So like I've said so many times, a 1% change every single day creates exponential growth in your life and changes that you cannot even imagine. A 1% is unperceptible in the moment, but it's like the compound interest, over time, it really becomes big. And it's really important to notice where you are today and as you're changing, because you'll get a week or 2 weeks out and you won't remember this is where you were, and you won't see that things have changed. So I love to do the journal prompts and catch where we are right now. And so that we can go back and we can actually see, I am amazing. I am the creator because I created this. Does that make sense? Let's see, I'm looking over here. All right. Um, so for the affirmation, make sure that you're putting it on your sticky notes, put it on an index card, put it on the mirror with a chalk marker like I do. And is it Lynn? Is it you that puts it on the marker, or is it Don? I don't remember who it is that uses the marker and puts it on the little mirror. But if you can do that, do that. And one of the things I like to do if I'm going to be in the car a lot, I'll do two index cards and I'll put it on the visor. I'll put it on each side of the visor so that whether I've got you type it in your calendar. Okay, cool. Um, but that way I can close shield the sun, and there's the index card. And if I raise it up, there's an index card. And so it's where I can glance at it every now and then. And it's a reminder because I know what it says, right? So it's just a reminder, and it's not something I have to read every time. And so just put it out there, put it as the screensaver on your phone. I don't care. Put it on a piece of paper and stick it on your refrigerator, wherever you need to put it so that you see it, because you are the creator of your own happiness. Embrace it, love it. Oh, it really is a powerful thing, right? So now let's get to the journal prompt. Good morning, Heather. Oh, no worries, no worries. We just been chatting along, right? So you can go back and watch the replay to catch what you missed. But our affirmation for today is I'm the creator of my own happiness. And I talked a little bit about the emotional scale and how it is important to realize we're moving up the scale no matter where we're at. If we're not in happiness mode yet, that there are stages to go through. So go back and look at that, or listen to it, whatever. All right, so here's the journal prompt. All right, so our journal prompt is, what is one thing you can do today? Oh, hold on a second. I didn't type that very well, did I? Let's see. Let me check that. What the heck? Is it not allowing me? Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to get it corrected. All right, corrected. What is one thing you can do today that makes you happy? And, it is, and I would like to expand on that a little bit too. Not only what is one thing you can do today that makes you happy, but how can you invite more happiness into your life? So that could be, um, getting around other people, which I guess that's the same thing. What is one thing you can do? But what I really want you to do is have more things that you can write out. And, and even if it comes to the place where if you can't think of anything, I want you to write about some of the things that are bringing you down, and then see if you can switch that around a little bit to see what is the polar opposite of that, because we work in polarities. If you're not happy here, right over here you're happy. It's a balance thing. It's there. And so if it's possible for you to be unhappy, it's possible for you to be happy. And so not only is it one thing you can do today that makes you happy, that's amazing. And you can put that actually as your self-care for the day, because doing something to make yourself happy, that's a form of self-care. That's why it becomes such a bigger thing than just taking a bath or journaling. It can be a plethora of things that you can do to make you happy. I mean, I think there was at one time my daughter was wanting to go axe throwing, and axe throwing might be a form of self-care, right? And then there was somebody in the group, I can't even remember who it was, that she wanted to wear a tiara. It made her feel good. So she wore a tiara to feel good. And that was her form of self-care. And there's several people that do the go dancing or go walking in the park. And so there's a lot of things. And like my podcast is part of my self-care, going into a scheduled recording and talking to someone and finding out their story and relating it and just giving them a voice is amazing to me. And that is such a big form of self-care. And I have to be careful sometimes. I want to do it so much that I don't have time to do other things. So I have to rearrange my self-care. And what do I want to do today for self-care? And, and so I posted in the group the other day, my self-care for the day was I went and sat outside and I had a tray with my coffee and or my tea and my books, and I had my water there, and I could hear the wind chimes, and it was just beautiful. The sun was shining, and that was my form of self-care for that day. Yesterday it was yoga. Yoga was my self-care. So just think about it. What is one thing you can do today that makes you happy? And then how can you expand on that? Get some more ideas. What are things that you can do to make yourself happy? And when you come back and look at this in a week or a few months, there'll be other things that'll come up to you, or maybe you'll notice the list and you'll say, "Hey, I put this down, and that would be great, and I never did it. So now I'm going to do it." And so it's like it can be a running tally of things that you can do, almost like for some of us that have been part of the do the thing bucket list challenge, it can be part of your bucket list. Just finding things to make you happy. And your bucket list doesn't have to be big things like jumping out of a plane or traveling the world. It can be something small. It's just something that makes you happy. So I invite you to get your journal out and write down your affirmation and your journal prompt. I really love it when you can. I think it's very helpful when you can put the two together. So then you can see how they relate. And then, as you come back to some of these, then you can look and say, wow, I really liked that affirmation. I haven't thought about that in a while. Let me use that affirmation. And so it's really, really powerful to keep track of this. And if you don't have a journal, just get a notebook, put the date on it, and write down the thoughts that all come. And I know a lot of people do the digital journals, and that's great because you are actually using your hand. But when you're writing, physically writing, your brain connects it in a different way than it does with typing. And so even if you're typing it into something, if you would take just a moment and just write it on a piece of paper and see what comes up for you, because when the brain and the heart and the hand are all connected, then a lot of things will come up that you never would have thought of otherwise. And so I just invite you, if it's possible, to get a pen and write it out. And I know for some people it's not possible and they may not have the ability to do it. I know Ginger, I don't know that she can actually physically write a lot now. She can paint and things, but I don't know. I think I'll have to ask her, if she can actually control the pen enough to write things without it taxing her so much. All right, so I'm trying to think. So does this sound like something that you would love to do, is to find ways or think of things to make yourself happy today? Who's up for coming in and being happy? Who's ready to be happier today? Just put a 1 or put a me in the comments, because I'd like to see. To me, anything I can do to make myself feel happier, even if it's just for a moment, oh, that's so delicious. And it's funny. I remember one time watching my husband was thank you, Heather. I was watching my husband. Yes, Lynn, and he was throwing the ball to my son, and my son had the glove, and they were playing catch. And then I had my daughter on the swing, and I was swinging her, and the sun was shining. I could hear the birds. I could feel the wind. And that moment felt like a picture perfect moment. It was like something from the movies. It was amazing. And uh, and those that don't know, he's now my husband is now deceased, and so that is one of the memories. Sorry. That is one of the memories that I go back to a lot because it was magnificent. And the feel was just so glorious that here we are, and this is happiness, right? And it is, if you can find something, hopefully it doesn't make you cry. Most of the time it doesn't. I can get into that feeling and that memory and just feel, yes, I had that. That was great. And I know how that feels. And so then I can look for other things that I can do that give me a feeling like that, a feeling of, this is a moment to write about. This is a moment that could be part of a movie. And seeing it wasn't that big a deal, right? My husband was throwing the ball to my son. He was catching it in a glove, and they were just right there. And then I was swinging my daughter. See, that's not really anything to write about, but the feeling of it, the memory of it is mwah. And so I invite you, as you're going through this process, think about what is something in your past that brought you such great joy, and you can feel that feeling, and then you can recognize it. And really, when you get into that feeling of it, and then it starts bringing more of those feelings to you, right? So then all the things that can make you happier will start flowing a little bit more, and you'll start seeing them. Good morning, Ryan. I see you watching, but I had to put my phone up here because StreamYard doesn't allow me to see who's watching or anything like that unless they say hello. But you can find so much happiness by getting in touch with a place in your memory where happiness was like, oh, delicious, right? Get into that moment, feel it within your soul, and then that will help you to find other ways to bring in that level of happiness. And remember what I said, it doesn't have to be something big, because my story is just my son and my husband tossing the ball and me swinging my daughter on the swing. And so you can gather that feeling of pure happiness, pure joy from almost anything. Connect with it, enjoy it, be part of it. And then just surrender to knowing that just by doing that and by using this journal prompt, what is one thing you can do today that makes you happy? So many things will come to you, and they're going to keep coming to you. And your level of happiness is within your control. Remember the affirmation, I am the creator. Let me pop it back up here. I am the creator of my own happiness. So today, surrender to happiness. However it comes, you are in control. You are the creator of your own happiness. All right. So I will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, it's not Standard Time anymore. I will see you at 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and be here. And I'm so excited to be able to share with you guys all the time. And so thank you for being here. You help me to create my happiness. All right. Have a blessed day. And thank you guys for being here. Mwah.